So she picks the guy that looks like Joe Biden in glasses to be her running mate. Okay.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth.
I'm Pastor Marty, and this is the Afternoon Drive. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That will give you a notification of my rants, my ravings, and my undeniably flawless reasonings. Please like and share this video. That's the way that we get the word out that we're here. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of the Afternoon Drive. Tim Walz of Minnesota, that's Jesse Ventura country, isn't it? Picked to be the VP. And of all people, Tim Acosta over at CNN got to break that story. Not even on CNN, he broke it on X. So over the past few days, the Veep stakes within the Democratic Party have become the closest thing to an actual primary. You know, if I were a Democrat, I would feel really, what's the word I want? Cheated, ignored during this whole so-called fight to save democracy. Because, you know, democracy is on the ballot this year, we're told. And the only way we can save it is through the most incredibly non-democratic procedure ever dreamed up by a political party. They protected Joe Biden from an actual real primary. He didn't do any debates. Okay, he's the incumbent, got that. But, you know, the party is supposed to be, during a primary season, the party itself, which means i.e. the party leadership, is supposed to be neutral, not putting their thumb on the scale. And they certainly, you know, did not give RFK Jr., you know, any type of a fair shot or opportunity to be a part of the process. They just didn't. They wanted no one to seriously actually challenge Joe Biden. And here's the thing, and you need to keep this in mind, and you need to remember this. These people knew then that Joe Biden was in cognitive mental decline, and they didn't care. We saw him the other night standing next to Kamala after the prisoners were released from Russia, and God only knows what we gave up. God only knows how horrible and wretched this deal is. For all we know, Putin now feels so emboldened, he will be the military defense protecting Iran. Oh, wait, what's this? Today, it was announced that Russia will provide the air cover over Iran against Israel. Bum, baby. But hey, according to word salad Kamala, it is important in times like these to understand that we have a president, pointing to Joe Biden, who literally was standing there the whole time, and you could tell he didn't know where he was. He didn't know what was going on. He probably didn't even know, you know, like, why am I standing next to this black, this Indian, she doesn't know what she is either. How am I supposed to know? And that was the expression on his face. And then she's serving up her word salad because she didn't have a script in front of her on a teleprompter. In times like these, we need a president who understands diplomacy. Because it's important to know that this is the result of important diplomacy. She's one of these people that she thinks repeating the same word 2 or 3 times really drives home the point that no one got to begin with. So just repeating it 2 or 3 times means they really didn't get the point. So we have this process within the Democratic Party that allowed the coup of Joe Biden. And again, they would have dragged him across the finish line this election cycle if they thought he could win. It doesn't matter that he's mentally not there and not actually making the decisions, and that technically, right now, we have a very non-constitutional functioning government. But they don't care about that. They only care about that when they want to use that as a way to describe going after Donald Trump is a constitutional thing because we're protecting democracy. And then Nancy Botox Pelosi thinks now that Joe Biden's bust belongs on Mount Rushmore. You can't make this stuff up. And that insaniac actually says these things with a straight face, like, oh yes, he's the most consequential president of our generation. What? What? No. You got to believe that even times after she says things like that, that immediately when the camera is off and she's walking off set, that her cell phone immediately rings and it's Obama saying, Nancy, shut up. Yeah, it's seriously like, just shut up. You're taking stupid to a whole new level. Joe Biden on Mount Rushmore. So one political pundit I was watching yesterday on Megyn Kelly, who has followed the unelected career of Kamala Harris very closely. She got her whole DA spot in California to begin with by sleeping with, that's right, bad boy Willie Brown. Gee, when the Democrats want to lecture Donald Trump about morality, you think maybe we ought to talk to Mrs. Willie Brown and get her feelings on Kamala Harris? So, she constantly runs for things that she doesn't win, and then she just, because of the fact that she loves to play identity politics, she gets picked and put in there because she checks off boxes. She just did an interview the other day. She does all these softball interviews now, but she did one the other day where we're woke and we need to stay woke, okay? We just need to be woke. So, she's constantly pandering to the far left. And she has to virtually do nothing. The Democratic machine is making all this happen for her. The problem is people are beginning to remember, oh yeah, this is Kamala. The euphoria is fading. There was this surge, like, when you're really tired and you pop 2 energy drinks, a coffee, and, eat half a bag of sugar. Man, you're wired and ready to go. But then comes the sugar crash. And the Democratic Party is heading for the Kamala sugar crash. Because the reality is setting in again of, oh yeah, there were reasons we didn't like her, and she was polling worse than Joe Biden. So the Democratic Party, trying to save democracy, they pulled their candidate when he performed so badly in a debate that all of America knew this man cannot be president. And that was when they made the decision to pull him. Not because they had just discovered he had dementia. No, they've known that. They didn't care. So then they insert Kamala, and the machine goes to work. But then came this, got to have a vice president. And the Democrats, especially in the far left, were going to have their say. Now, she wanted Josh Shapiro, which some on the left started referring to as Genocide Josh, but they were hesitant to go public with that because, as the New York Times reported, they were worried that would be seen as anti-Semitic. So you had the left, you had Muslim groups, American Arabs. They were not happy at all with the concept of Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, becoming the vice president. Didn't want him, didn't want him, didn't want him. And John Fetterman, senator from Pennsylvania, the guy with brain damage who right now is, might be the smartest man in the Democratic Party, said, no, you don't want Shapiro. He's an opportunist. And I think there was a part of Kamala, she doesn't want to be, upstage. She's like, there's only room on this ticket for one hoe oh, did I just say that? Two hoes run for president on the same ticket. Oh, a little too much coffee today. So there were a couple other people on the short list. Union leaders didn't like one. Other Arab Americans didn't like the other one. So it was kind of like she picks Tim Walz. Who is Tim Walz? Exactly. That's why he got picked. Because this guy is pale, stale, and male. He is about as exciting as wallpaper paste. Supposedly, when he was, in Congress, he was a moderate. You'd have to wonder, well, what is a moderate Democrat? You could still be left in the Democratic Party and labeled a moderate because the far left is so extreme and so out there in Looney Tunesville that, if you're just a little bit to the right of them, you're considered moderate. You got the far left that wants to defund the police, outlaw gas-powered vehicles, let's give up eating meat because flatulating cows are killing the planet. So let's, eat bugs that are flavored like meat. Just this woke libloon crapola, which is the far left. So if you come along and say, well, no, I'm not for banning meat or gas cars, but I do think kids ought to get hormone blockers if that's what they want and that's what their doctor says, now all of a sudden you're moderate. So when they call him a moderate, I don't really know what that means, to be honest with you. I don't know enough of this man, and nobody does, and that was why they picked him. That was why they picked him. He is a blank sheet of paper. And they're hoping beyond hoping and crossing their fingers that in the 90, 89 days, whatever it is until Election Day, that not enough can be found out about this guy that the Americans will form a, quote, negative opinion of him. He'll just be looked at as blah and blah. Oh, and apparently, though, he does like to refer to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance as weird. Really, this is the campaign. We're going to call Trump and Vance weird. See, they have to call him weird. They had to get away from that word dangerous because, well, there was an assassination attempt, though you wouldn't know it because the media doesn't talk about it anymore. That happened 2 weeks ago, and it might have been 22 years ago for the attention the media is giving it. 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump was shot. And the media will not talk about it. We're just going to talk about Kamala, have a coronation right up to the big DNC, and hopefully carry this euphoric sugar high into Election Day. So I am certain that the GOP, or at least those that are part of Team Trump, are working overtime now to find out what they can find out about Tim Walz. Because as I was saying earlier, Megyn Kelly had a political pundit on yesterday. It was very interesting to listen to when he talked about, as he has followed the career of Kamala Harris. She doesn't make good decisions in general, and she makes really bad decisions when she's feeling pressure. This is why when she gets into interviews and she get asked, questions that she's not prepared to answer, she starts doing the word salad stuff. Because she can't handle pressure and she doesn't make good decisions under pressure. And right now, you talk about this pressure that normally a candidate has months, sometimes over a year. Donald Trump has been vetting potential running mates for well over a year. Who will it be? Who will it be? Who will it be? I personally really thought he was going to go for Tulsi Gabbard. I did not see the J.D. Vance pick coming, but he's made that pick. I still think it's a sound one, a wise one, and I do think that J.D. Vance helps Trump carry the Rust Belt. I think he helps Trump carry that blue wall. By the way, it puts Pennsylvania back in play, with it not being Shapiro. But as this pundit said, she will no doubt make probably a really bad choice when it comes to the VP. Now, that's a matter of perspective right now, because some people are going to say, well, this is brilliant because, Tim Walz is, a virtual unknown. Unless opposition research digs up something on him that nobody knows about.
Well, he's been in public service now many years. Certainly anything that wants to be exposed has been exposed.
Really, because it was just over the weekend we found out about the dalliances of the second dude, the vice president's hubby, fooling around with the nanny. And there's even some reports that fathered a child and paid for the abortion. That was certainly known to the Biden camp when they picked Kamala, but somehow it got kept quiet. Then all of a sudden over the weekend, it burst into the media. And again, this is the part that nobody's talking about. The real infighting is not in the Republican Party, it's in the Democrat Party. Because nothing that is potentially embarrassing like that to a Democrat gets released in the mainstream media unless the power brokers within the Democrat Party give it a thumbs up. See, it was Obama, Clinton, Pelosi, etc. that gave the thumbs up on to the media. You out Joe, and you out him hard every day. I still think there is this rift between the Clinton Bidens, who were united in how getting Kamala in there, and Obama, who wanted Joe gone, but he wanted more of an open process and somebody else to actually be at the top of the ticket. And when they did an end run around him, and he and Michelle were forced to make a public, we're all for Kamala, but it took him days to get there. I think Barack Obama wants to pull the strings here. And he doesn't want Kamala following any more advice from the Clintons or the Bidens. And I think he gave that heads up on the story about the hubby, and Kamala received the message loud and clear. Because there's obviously a lot more about Kamala we don't know. And Obama, what we can hope for is that he gets miffed enough that he just decides, you know what? I'm going to commit political suicide for the party this election cycle. And you know what? I'm going to get out of the way, let America have Trump, because I'm going to let the media know everything I know about Kamala. Bump, ba-dump, bump.